What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Roach coming at you with another video. I know this is kind of quick, but I did a video. My previous video, I talked about a security officer that quit on live TV because I look at it overall as treatment from his company and his direct supervisor. And I'm happy to say he's got a new position, and I put a link to that on the Facebook page so that you guys can check it out. And Sir Officer Percy Payne, if you so happen are watching this video, I'm so happy for you, and I wish you nothing but the best in your new position. Sounds like the guy you're going to be working with is going to sounds like he's a stand-up guy, and I'm so happy for you. I can't explain that in any way. Anyway, it leads up to the topic for today's video that I want to talk about. I want to talk about suicides in this profession. And having watched that video, the video with Officer Payne yesterday, this really leads me to a very chilling outlook that I've experienced working security myself, is that you are nothing more to all it takes. I want you guys to understand kind of what this is all about. All it takes to have another security, or at least here in the state of Oklahoma, it might appear to be that way. All it takes, what seems like, could be nothing more than a pot of coffee and a resentment. And then you've got ABC security, and then I don't like you. I don't like you either. Well, I don't like you either. So, okay, so we're going to go to coffee pot. Then you got XYZ security. And they promise you the world, but then you get into a situation, boop, off you go. You're just a mass casualty. They'll get another guard, whatever you want to call it, and the turnover saga, continues. Which leads to this video that I want to talk about: the rate of suicides in this profession. I pulled up an article. And there's going to be a link to this article here in the description for you guys to kind of check it out. And stand by. The link is going to be ASIS Online. This is the American Society for Industrial Security. This is going back to 2015, and I'm not gonna read this verbatim. Like I say, there's going to be a link to this page here in the description, so you guys can read it for yourself. But I want you guys to understand kind of what it's like in this profession, because for the most part, all you are is a body. You ain't contributing jack squat. All you are is a body in this profession, and you get into a situation like what you saw, like what Officer Payne did, you're just gonna be casted off. You're just gonna be casted off, and it's gonna be nothing. It's gonna be nothing the agency to fill another body, because security in the security profession, it's not looked at as a general, no, you might call it an unskilled profession, you might say. It's changing, not fast enough, but it's changing. I'm seeing some agencies working on that, which I'm happy for. And I'm totally happy for that. But anyway, and here's a little link right there. I'm going to highlight it right there so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Recent study found in the protective services, such as law enforcement, first responders, as EMTs and firefighters and security officers, suffer a higher rate of workplace suicide rates than those in other professions. I can think of one way. I can think of how security officers are in this, because, like I say, you get into a situation such as this, or you're involved in a standoff, or whatever the case may be, and then agency XYZ say, you're gonna be at work the next day. and you're supposed to be able to like not give it another thought. But you know, it's gonna weigh on you. It's gonna weigh on you. I shared last night that having to have another officer try to detain somebody that was on an acid trip. And tell you what, they get a superhuman strength that is unreal. That's unreal. You know that weighs on you. But I'm not supposed to. I'm supposed to think, oh, you're supposed to go on with another one. Oh well, whatever. I'm glad the workplace is paying more attention to mental health these days, because this could lead to severe burnout. I know somebody out there is saying this. Well, you're not tough enough. You're not supposed. If you can't be tough enough, you're not supposed to be a whatever, people. And conducted by the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health. And the study looked at 1,719 suicides that that occurred in the workplace between 2003 and 2010. And they're using sources from the Centers for Disease Control and Bureau of Labor Stats. And those researchers found that the suicide rates were highest for those in the protective service occupations at 5.3 per 1 million. Think about that. In the security profession, it can go a long way when you have a peer support system that those officers can talk to friends, because you know they're not going to have a. And I'll tell you something, but it's not my problem that you should have friends. Well, you know what? You expected them to do 50, 60, 65 hours a week for you, but they're getting paid real well. Well, you know what? Money's not everything. If you have those resources, like most agencies, you know, have employee assistance programs, you know, where they can go to counseling, you know. So what? You got better help out there. That's another one. I mean, make the resources available. I mean, that's nothing. Show them that you care. Yeah, granted, that officer may not have done the right thing, had doing the interview on live TV in his uniform, but I get his frustration. I totally get that. And then to have that officer say, "Well, it's my picture phone." Booyah! He handled that so much better than I would have. But anyway, I digress. My point is, make the resources available. Let it help to where they can work through these. Make you have your insurance available. You know, mental health is becoming a bigger paramount issue now. You know, and anybody, if you're not taking care of your mental health, you're gonna have burnout. You're gonna have what I got diagnosed with last year, generalized anxiety disorder, because you're gonna look at everybody's gonna be against you. You're gonna have the yeah, and this things you're gonna. I can go on and on about what can happen to you if you're not taking care of yourself. And to the agencies out there, if you value them, take care of them, because they're the ones that's taking care of you. Make it reciprocal. Otherwise, the turnover is going to continue. You're looking at these disposable bodies. You're going to run out of bodies before you know it. And that's not fair on the good agencies, because the good agencies want their best people. And if they're not out there and they're not willing to put their neck on the line, you know, that neck on the line for what, 18, 20 bucks an hour. But they don't have to put themselves in harm's way. Can you say that, really? But anyway, I digress. Anyway, okay, I'm going to point out to another one, and there's also a, there's also a, here's an article from a person I actually am Facebook friends with them, and I'm a lifetime member, a Private Officer International. The guy named Rick McCann, and he points out one thing that I totally agree with: the evolution of the industry. You got it back in the good old days that officers are talking about are working in warehouses, apartments, they apartments, you go what have you, your garden, whatever, variable property. But he talks about here the evolution of the industry and talking about in his experiences, officers in his experience were in guardhouses were tasked with protecting secluded locations. Now officers are actively on patrol and thus more likely to be in first responder scenarios like those. And I've been a patrol officer myself, so I see where he's coming from on this. They're going to be much more. They're going to be much more visible, and more security is armed. And in some states, security officers, and Rick also talks about more security personnel are armed. And in more than 2 dozen states and growing, security officers have law enforcement authority. And in some states, security officers do have law enforcement authority. I don't know which state has that right away, but here's a biggie. Here's a biggie right here. Another contributing factor is many officers work in conditions that pose mental health challenges in various ways. Oh. I wonder what somebody's going to say about that. Anyway, I could go on in this, but I'm going to, like I say, I want. That's the best way I could say this. These are some of the factors we're talking about right here, that can lead the security officer burnout, suicide, and suicides in this profession. And I'm pointing out that things need to happen, because security officer, in the security profession, it's not, they're not just bodies you can just toss to the side. But anyway, um, I lost my train of thought. But anyway, with that being said, I'm going to put this link in the description. I'm going to link to this article here in the description for you to look at for your own viewing. But this points out a big problem. Points out a big problem that needs to change. One of the big things that needs to change. Security officers can do this. Security agencies can do this. And making employee EAP programs accessible to their officers. I'm not a big fan of unions, with some exceptions. The security industry, in my opinion, needs a union. Better take care of themselves. Take care of themselves. And the officers that work together at various agencies, look out for each other. Because I'll tell you what, most agencies aren't going to give two craps about you. The world is not going to give two craps about you. Take this for whatever it's worth. I'm going to end the video. I'm going to end it. Go back to the live lookout. But anyway, I'm going to end the video here. To quote a friend of mine, Reaper One, trust is earned, loyalty is returned. With that being said, I'm going to bid you a pleasant adieu. I'll see you on the next video.